curious to see now. I imagine it will still be something like the Ashes you talked about. Always an option here to... Okay, this would actually be a bit of a mix-up. So basically what this says to me is like, Wings,
like
you're
it.
on your own on the bottom side. We want this bar to be at roaming, supporting Meteor wherever he goes. On this rotation here, you could still go towards the Ashe. You could still go towards something along the lines here for Zhongwuji. And this is something the LPL has definitely started to prioritize more, is this Graves-Ashe combo where you use this Ashe to allow the Graves to have more of an impact in these fights, and you can have the Graves facilitate the damage that you're not as much seeing through that Ashe pick.
So Wooming gonna sneak away this Zoe for himself, taking that from Fofo. Let's bear in mind, Syndra is still available, so Fofo could go for something like that if he wants to, but I'd expect BLG to finish things off with the jungler. The side of Rogue Warriors, looks like they're gonna opt into support and leave AD carry for last.
Okay, so we get the LeBlanc lock in here. So this is a LeBlanc favorite matchup for Fofo. I'd be curious to see if he's able to play against this Zoe for a little bit. So it's still a little bit of a skill matchup, but slightly in that LeBlanc's favor.
We'll see what Fofo's going to be able to do, if he'll be able to have a great impact like he did in game number 1 of the series on that Twisted Fate. And now BLG moving on towards these bans, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see bans yet towards Zhongwuji, the Kalista being removed here.
Sorry, I want to clarify something on that LeBlanc matchup. Is helped quite a bit by jungle interaction here. And when I haven't seen jungle actually come in from BLG just yet, I'll be curious to see if they can have a winning jungle matchup that can try and facilitate, well, not a winning, but definitely a gank-orientated jungle matchup that can win this lane for Fofo and get this LeBlanc rolling.
I have a feeling Rogue Warriors want to pick on. Just
a little bit.
Based on the fact that they banned Kayle, and it seems to be the only time we see Kale's bans is when the top laner wants to play the Ornn. BLG, though, looking towards his AD carry still. I'm curious if Rogue Warriors will ban a jungler on their second ban there, or whether they do stick towards trying to get Holder a comfortable matchup in the top lane. But let's bear in mind, Holder had a comfortable matchup in the first game.
Yeah, and he just wasn't quite able to have the impact that he'd like. Looking at Zhongwuji, though, we've seen Kalista ban, Ashe ban, Aphelios ban, Ezreal is off the board. So the last time he ended up tailing over towards the likes of Kai'Sa, we have seen the Lucian. I'd actually prefer to see the Varus, I think, here, because you do have an okay laning phase. You can do reasonably well at trying to lock up the likes of this LeBlanc and these kind of picks, but we'll have to see if that is going to be the cases. Will be the set locked in here for BLG, more than likely going towards me.
I do want to mention, he's played 1 game on Xayah. I'd be down to see a Xayah game. We'll see if Wuji's going to be willing to go for that, but the order we talked about, going to be hovered. Would not be surprised at all to see that locked in. It's one of the picks that Holder has succeeded on when he's played it. But then we'll have to see where Wuji is going to go to round this draft out.
The last AD carry pick here, but
I mean, we could try and predict it, but realistically, who knows? Like, these teams don't necessarily just follow the logic of the best pick to the meta. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Kai'Sa, honestly, alongside a Nautilus. It sets up for the Plasma stacks really well.
It does with the Nautilus, but it doesn't quite fit with the rest of the composition here, because Kai'Sa wants to be diving in. She wants enabling of the killer instinct. She wants to have something that allows her to play at short range with relative safety, i.e. you've got a whole bunch of bodies in the way of her.
But this is exactly what I was saying. These teams don't care about the optimal way to play League of Legends. They care about the way they want to play League of Legends. And you know what? With Rogue Warriors especially, they get a free pass in my book. They get to play however they want. Kingen going to go with this Sylas in the top lane to take on Ornn here.
So here you're looking at BLG, who are going, right, we've got 2 dive buddies in this Sylas and in this set, who are going to be trying to set up these massive teamfight plays coming through from the stolen away Call of the Forge God, these big showstoppers, and especially as we talked about Rogue Warriors having a relatively short-range composition, these become even more heavy hitters because they just get enabled so well by this Rogue Warriors comp.
So the coach is going to bow on stage once more as we head towards game number 2. And BLG feeling confident with this draft. And we'll see if a little bit more of the mid-game focus here is going to be the recipe for success for them. They don't have the same late-game scaling options that we saw in game number 1.
They don't. And we're going to be looking to see here if they can get the ball rolling early. So remember what we were talking about was LeBlanc can do good things against Zoe if she has a jungler that can enable it. Well, Set does actually fit into that pool because you can land the chains onto Zoe, who can struggle to get away from them. You then have Set, who's able to run into the lane, get the face break, or a whole bunch of burst damage, which Zoe can really struggle against. So Fofo and Meteor have the potential here to work really well together and try and get down Woomin. But we'll have to see if they're going to have that opportunity, as Woomin has been able to play relatively safe in these lanes prior and doesn't mind losing some of the CS and falling behind a bit, especially when he's got Harrow on this Graves, who oftentimes takes over a game on this pick.
That's the thing that I want to talk about next, is Harrow on this Graves. He's up against Meteor's Set, which is something Meteor's only played one time previously. But we've seen Harrow on Graves before. This has been one of his most successful junglers of the split, and he is the guy that we regularly look towards on the side of Rogue Warriors. When they are successful, it is on the back of Harrow's hard work.
And already you can see what Harrow's trying to do here. Get in, spot where Meteor is going to. Just spot out Meteor actually there, who I don't think he was able to maybe spot out Harrow, but either way, you'll get an idea here of where everyone is going to be moving to. Is actually Harrow's snuck over the wall.
Shenanigans are afoot, Dagda. There's Harrow. He's snuck in. Meteor, I don't know if he knows this is going on, if it was in range of that ward that he slammed down. But Harrow will have known that that ward went down, because Harrow obviously warded first. And Meteor is moving up to this top side. Kingen is here. Holder is in position to move over, as is Wooming.
So Meteor can actually solo start on this side of the jungle, and it looks like that's what he's going to do. Harrow will be spotted here.
Hello, Meteor, says Harrow, as he pops out of the brush. And Meteor goes, nah, not having any of it. I may be a pit boss. I may be known for my 1v1 battles in the lore, but I am not cosplaying today. I'm playing in the LPL.
So this goes towards Rogue Warriors in this 2v2. More CC can come through from Holder, especially in these close quarter combats. And Harrow as well. I mean, look, he's just going to be able to deal more damage than Meteor right now. So Meteor will be sent packing. He's going to go down towards his bottom side. An opportunity to split the map here, but it doesn't really favor either squad if they try to split this, because Meteor's playing down towards his weak side, which is Wings and Shinbo. And honestly, you've got Harrow's playing towards his weaker side of the map, which is through Holder on this top side.
So what you're saying is they're playing towards less action.
Well, the thing is, they've actually not opted to. You can see Harrow has said, look, I'm going to steal away your red. I'm going to move back down towards the bottom side.
Big old fight in the bottom lane. Would you get exhausted? All right, talk to me about the buffs, Dagda.
So what Harrow has done is move back down towards this bottom side to prevent the map split from coming through. And he'll be able to clear faster than Meteor here. So I imagine what the protocol here for Harrow is going from that red buff to his own red buff, clear back towards that top side, and try and steal away the scuttle crab for himself. Although, with the push power now starting to swing in favor of Zhang Wuji and Lei, he could actually just stick on this bottom side and try and go from Raptors in towards that bottom scuttle.
Look at the CS lead in the mid lane already for Fofo. He is bullying hard. There are a few minions there underneath the tower, but there ain't 10, that's for sure. So Wooming having a hard time already in that matchup. Kingen as well doing a great job up in the top lane.
So at the moment, this is Kingen favored, but as the levels and as some of these resistances start to come through, it swings back in favor of the Ornn, and it's kind of just a matchup where Kingen will look to farm, but a good job at the moment to punish this matchup, at least for the moment. The interesting thing for Kingen, though, is, again, this free footwork build, usually against an Ornn in these long, extended trades, they'll tend to go towards the Conqueror because it's so easy for you to stack it up, but opting towards the free footwork where I don't know if it's fully necessary, but at least it means you can max his Q, shove in these waves a lot more aggressively than you would as the old Sylas into this Ornn matchup, and try and maybe get some roams off.
Yeah, speaking of shoving the waves as well, Harrow moved into the mid lane there to help Wooming just shove that wave in, get himself a recall off of maybe, grab a little bit of AP from the base. We're going to see Fofo match that recall as well, but already a 10 CS lead in favor of Fofo in that mid lane. Similar lead up towards the top side. As you mentioned, Kingen is going to have an advantage in that 1v1 for now. And to me, a lot of this is going to be resting on Zhang Wuji's shoulders as well as Harrow in the jungle, right? We've got to get these late game carries online. If Wuji on this Kai'Sa, he can't quite be left alone by his team in the same way that he was on the Ashe. When the fight kicks off, he's going to be able to get involved.
And I think that's where we're going to see how can Zhang Wuji enable himself in these fights? Because when you look at the BLG side, a lot of the times Rogue Warrior is going to be running into, well, Kingen and Meteor as well, who are, like, I love Meteor on the set pick. I think he's been one of the stronger set jungles that we've seen. His ability to set up fights with really strong showstoppers into massive face breakers has been excellent, and I think that's where Shangwuji is going to really struggle, because the short-range Kaisa is always at the mercy of one-way showstopper, one face breaker coming her way, and the entire fight swinging in BLG's favor as a result.
We'll see if he'll get these opportunities to get in the middle of these skirmishes, get the big face breakers off, and ruin Rogue Warrior's days. But as you rightly mentioned, Meteor being very comfortable on the set. Same can be said on the other side of the board. Harrow does have that Graves.
The difficult thing for Meteor in this matchup at the moment, though, is because of that red buff steal and because Meteor went for the earlier back, he wasn't able to finish off his jungle item before coming back out. So Harrow now has a massive advantage if he ever runs into Meteor, which is why I think Meteor is tending to take a bit of a slower pace here, not wanting to gank as heavily, although as I say that.
We're going to see a root coming down. Wooming taking incredibly low. He was trying to bait it out, I think, but Fofo is like, all right, if you're going to stand there, I'm going to hit you, and there's nothing you can do about that one. The chain's obviously landed. A Meteor was off to the side as well. In the meantime, though, Rogue Warriors, because they did manage to get the push out in the mid lane, pushed out in the bottom lane as well, they can move over to the drone.
And I'd be curious to see now what build Shangwuji is going to go for on this Kai'Sa as well, because when you talk about pushing power in the bottom lane, we've seen a lot of this Serrated Dirk into Essence Reaver, into that Nashor's Tooth build start to come up, but Wooming.
Fofo wants to make this play. Great predict on the chains there from Fofo. It's not going to be enough to do all of too much. Fofo's pretty low, though. Collateral damage is not available. Harrow's not quite level 6. That could have been a very different fight if he was.
Yeah, a bit dangerous, but you can see how much these two mid laners are trying to battle it out. Now the junglers are trying to support them and make sure that they can come out on top, but Meteor will back away and will give the opportunity now for Woomin and Harrow start roaming around here, potentially towards this top side as Kingen shoves in. Yeah,
Kingen's going to have to be a little bit cautious here. Should be able to shove that wave in before Harrow arrives. Obviously, they have vision because of that Scuttle Crab. And Harrow, for the second time this game, wants to claim the red buffs. He does not want Meteor to have any buffs for himself. But in the end, decides not to make the play. He's going to move mid instead. Yeah,
right call here. Where the lane is positioned mid, Woomin could have come across, but it would have been pretty much in tandem with Fofo. The big difference was Kingen topside would have moved a hell of a lot faster than Holder, and that can be pretty dangerous when you're stuck in there with Meteor. So, well, back away, and actually manages to pick up another longsword of himself, not quite able to finish that jungle item.
Light finds himself a hook in the bottom lane, but obviously Wings is on Ezreal, so he's going to be fine. And we are seeing, once again, Fofo is finding himself some massive advantages in this mid lane matchup. It's the same thing that we saw in game number 1 as well. Like, that is a already huge CS lead. When we consider the fact that we're only 7.5 minutes into the game, being 10 to 20 CS up is a big deal.
And Fofo has been very good on this roster. He's actually looked strong.
Kingen wants to try and make a solo kill happen here. Won't be able to proc the Brittle, and that's going to be that. Not as exciting as I was hoping it was going to be.
No, but Kingen is doing... So, we're going to go back. Fofo's been looking real strong in the mid lane for BLG, and Kingen hasn't been looking this strong in the top lane for BLG. And especially as we talked about, this matchup is definitely a orange, slightly favored matchup. Kingen is doing a really good job here to control this match in the top side. And honestly, this is what we're talking about with Holder, is that he's been one of the weaker links for Rogue Warriors. Both Crazy and Holder have been, and Kingen is abusing that so well here.
I'm just surprised that this is the version of Rogue Warriors that we're seeing. That we are seeing this kind of passive style. But as I say that, they move up to try and contest this Rift Herald. Harrow caught up by the Tempered Fate. The stun comes out too early from Shinmo though, so it means Harrow's free to roam here. Rift Herald down to very low HP, but Meteor is the target right now as Rogue Warriors have to get out with this one. Harrow ignited and taken down with the Electrocute. Holder, I don't think can get away either. The Blast Cone just ain't it. A kill goes the way of the Silas in the top lane for Kingen. Lay now the next guy to step on forward, but he ain't that tanky. He needs to be careful. Trouble Bubble from Wooming. Can they follow up? In goes Jungwoo, but he didn't have any damage just yet, and he just baits Wooming in.
And that is a disastrous fight from Rogue Warriors. BLG get there quicker, they set themselves up better, and again, Meteor with these massive engages on the set, swing that in favor of BLG.
Bit of a disastrous fight there for Rogue Warriors. I mean, BLG, they were there first, they set everything up, everybody was around, and easy pickings for them.
And the thing is now they haven't even gone towards the Riptail, so could even potentially look for this once more. But this is the problem with the Rogue Warrior side right now, is that Shang-Wuji and Lei were a little bit slow to this play, so when everything kicks off, you've already got Shinmo here. You've got the TP coming in from from Wings as well, to get himself here faster. And look at Meteor. Like, this is the power of this set in the jungle. If you are able to set up beautifully in the middle of everyone, big showstopper, face breaker, and then the haymaker across all three members, that is so much damage you've just churned out across everyone that's involved in this fight on Rogue Warriors. And then at this stage, I would have just said, look, back away. There's no reason for you to continue in here, but they get a little bit greedy on the Rogue Warrior side. Not enough burst damage between Shang-Wuji and Wuming, especially when he's not able to proc the passive on this Kai'Sa.
And that felt like frustration there from Shang-Wuji, right? Like, you see him going for that play with the Killer Instinct, calling for Wuming to go in alongside him. And he used all his summoners in that play. Heal comes out now as Meteor pulls him back into the fray, but looks like BLG not willing to commit to the fight either. It's going to be a heavy trade.
Harrow did get the Rift Tower, though, as we were watching that replay. So Rogue Warriors have the opportunity to get some gold back in the favor. They need to be super careful, though, because if they're fighting BLG right now, you have more items picked up by Fofo. Meteor's got his finished jungle item as well. Kingen is massive right now. So I'd rather you just hands off as Rogue Warriors. Don't give BLG the satisfaction of getting more gold in their favor, and wait for your Kai'Sa to come online. Wait for this Graves to get to a point where he's super strong as well.
Women going to be able to just play the waves as well in the mid lane. So we saw BLG grouping up there. It wasn't to try and pressure on this tower, though. It's to try and move down towards this dragon that has just spawned. It's going to be Infernal. I forgot to check in the top lane which kind of soul it was going to be. So we don't get to continue the experiment just yet, Dagda. But there's plenty more games coming, don't worry. This is a 6-game day, I can feel it.
Well, we'll have to see, because right now BLG are looking fairly much in control of this game. Nearly a 2,000 gold lead for themselves, and we're just coming up to the 12-minute mark. They can clear out this wave and have Fofo move over now to fight Rogue Warriors here.
Let's find out. Rogue Warriors, the ones to start this one off. We'll see if they can get themselves a second Drake Shinmo with the Tempered Fate, meaning Meteor has an opportunity to get in Facebreaker across the team, but Harrow does get the Drake in the end. They get themselves a kill onto Shinmo. Meteor just about gets away with his life, but a nice trouble bubble onto Fofo. They can't follow it up. Hook comes out from Lei as Kingen wants to turn it around and will do exactly that. Flashes over the wall. He's long gone, but no! Shang-Wuji wants a bit of revenge for the Wukong in game number 1. Brings him down.
And there we go. Rogue Warriors are able to fight back at that dragon. They get their second dragon of the game. They get the fight as well off of what was a late engage from BLG, and twice in this game now we've seen if you can set up properly, that's what's going to make the difference here.
So very nicely done here from Rogue Warriors. We got a little bit of action. We got a little bit of fight back as well out of Rogue Warriors, because the first fight really not their favor.
And the problem with Shinmo here using that ult on the dragon is that that's your main tool for separating out Rogue Warriors. If you can get that onto Shang-Wuji and Wuming as they're stuck in the pit right here, that's easy pickings then for you to start to roll through Rogue Warriors. Fortunately though, BLG with Kingen slightly late and going for that play just leaves themselves with not much left in the tank when it gets to actually killing this Rogue Warrior side.
And you could see Shang-Wuji kind of hesitate for a second there. He's like, can I pull this off? Do I have the damage for this? He was like, yeah, I got this one. And do you know what? He's this LDL ADC that came in. He was hyped up as this team fight carry, and one of the picks that was hyped up for him was the Kai'Sa. Now he's got himself a kill. He's going to be heading towards those 2 items. I want to see this is Wing's real pop-off game. I want to see him prove that he is an LPL caliber ADC.
Shinmo just going to deny away this turret here, but they still get at least one turret play for themselves. Here though, I like what Rogue Warriors are trying to do. Rogue Warriors are just trying to take this game a little bit slower because they realize they've got the scaling. So even though they've got 2 dragons already and they are going for some of these fights, there's actually no pressure on them to try and go overly aggressive. You still got this Kai'Sa who's ramping up. You still got this Ornn. It's going to be able to provide a bunch of benefits to Harrow, who's this late game damage carry from the jungle, and over towards Wuming. So Rogue Warriors, as long as you're trading back and forth here with BLG and you're keeping that gold lead relatively okay, you're going to be in good shape.
Feels like more fourth than back, though.
They need
the
to
trades
be
as of
careful.
right now. Kingen could make a play here because Shinmo's moved up. The rest of the team, though, Meteor is on the bottom side of the map. Harrow is here. So in terms of junglers, Rogue Warriors definitely having the advantage. But Wuming could be in trouble. We're going to see the ult goes down in the mid lane, though. They're trying to dive this tower. Facebreaker comes through. The damage isn't quite enough, though.
Chains barely missed, and when you've got Ignite on Fofo, that would have been definite demise for Wuming. Not quite able to make the play, and Rogue Warriors trying to respond.
All right, Kingan's the target. Knockups across the board here as Shinmo tries to protect his top laner. In goes Kingan once more. He's ignited. Tempered Fate goes a little wide as Lei is tanking the tower. Kingan gets the kill.
And that's 2 swings and a misses on both sides. Kingan managing to turn that around. This is the point in the game where Kingan is at his strongest. He's got that GLP completed. He can turn a bunch of damage back around. And you can see that there. When that hook goes wide, Kingan pounces.
And now he's 3-1-2. He already had himself a GLP. He's got a couple of stacks on a Dark Seal as well. Kingan is starting to get really scary. And we were saying, I mean, yeah, look at the gold on the left of your screen right here. 400 gold up on anyone else in the game. The next person is his teammate as well. We were saying how Kingan hadn't been having the greatest performances recently, how he was somewhat of a weak link on the squad. He'd been swapping around with ADD. Not anymore.
I love the way he played this. He ulted on towards the Braves, which meant that he got the triple knockup through everyone with the Nautilus ult, and then he's just able to turn this around with, as he was able to just about eke himself away from the Nautilus. So Kingan couldn't have played that better, and as you said, it's good to see him back in form, because this is the Kingan who came over from KT Rolster in spring 2020. We had such high hopes for him, and we didn't get anything. Now, though, we're starting to see that old style, why he was so praised and looked forward to coming over into the LPL.
And I love that he steals Jung Wooji's ult as well. It's not an ult that you would think about. When you're playing the Silas, that's not one of the ults that you want to steal, generally speaking. But in that specific scenario, being able to reposition, so damn valuable for him. So now the big question is, what can Rogue Warriors do about it? What is the play here for Rogue Warriors? How do they get themselves back in control of this game? Because we did see one team fight that was really good for them. They've already got 2 Drakes and there's another one coming. Are they strong enough to fight BLG?
Well, that'll help. But definitely I think they need to hold off for a little bit longer. You're still waiting on the likes of this.
Maybe Wuming could just kill them all before the fight ever happens. Doesn't quite get the paddle star there. Fofo goes in onto Lei. Look at the damage chains flashed away from as the redemption comes through. Keeps Lei alive. Knockups across both teams here, but Wooji survives. Meteor with a face breaker, but he's running out of health. He's running out of ways out of the play. Fofo's clone goes down as Meteor just about gets away. No! Taken down in the end. Wuming with a nice one. In the meantime, I was not even a part of any of this. He just wants the Drake.
I didn't think they'd be able to fight.
Oh, it's still going on. Fofo gets over the wall. Wuming with a slow onto wings.
Oh my god, there's so much back and forth. But I actually didn't think Rogue Warriors would be able to win out that fight. I was saying I want to see that Rage Blade be finished for Zhang Wuji so we can really start to ramp up. But Wuming's doing a really good job of poking out multiple members of BLG before this all kicks off. And honestly, BLG just are not finding clean engages at all. You see Meteor go in, he's completely separated because Fofo's popped in and popped back out to try and get some poke damage of his own on. But it means that it's very separated from BLG, and Rogue Warriors can deal with one person at a time on this BLG side.
And it didn't quite feel like a team fight to me, Dagda.
No.
It felt like kind of both teams jumping in and out of the skirmish, like neither of them really quite willing to properly commit to the play. And when you've got things like a Zoe on this side of Rogue Warriors, if Zoe's hitting those paddle stars and those trouble bubbles, it's going to be really hard to win that fight.
And that's why a lot of this game on the BLG side relies on Shinmo on this part. If he is able to stop Wuming from being an answer, or at least answering with a lot of poke to BLG side, or onto Zhang Wuji and take him out of the fight, you can win. But the problem is with Shinmo, I haven't been very impressed with his Bard. We saw it, it was 2 series ago. I think it was against, who were they supposed to? There was one team that they were supposed to beat. Maybe it was JDG. But either way, it wasn't convincing at all. I think it was Vici. But he just didn't look good on this Bard. And again, we're not seeing these big temper fates, which is why this Bard is so important.
We are going to see a big call of the Forge God, though. Flash from Wings to get into the portal. Very nice. Fofo continues to throw this damage out. Wooming, though, caught by the Tempered Fate. This is what we wanted from Shinmo. Wooming goes down, and now into the rest of the squad as everybody's pulled in. That's what we want from BLG. These are the fights that we were looking for, and they maintain control of the game.
And finally, Shinmo was able to make that big Tempered Fate play. I have been waiting so long for this bar to actually pop off on BLG's side, and at that moment, that was the perfect time for Shinmo to step up.
Shinmo, you're officially a member of the Cool Guys Club. Good job. The Bard ultimate was beautiful. 3-man. I mean, what more can you ask? The stun was a little early, I'll admit, but you know what? Meteor made up for it.
That's the thing, is that this is just about enabling Meteor to get into the right spots, enabling this Silas as well to get in on top of this backline. And honestly, if Woomin is going to take that much damage before that engagement from BLG comes in, makes things a lot easier. So there's the combination, there's the coordination we want to see from BLG. You just have to keep that up. And when you've got a 7,000 gold lead right now, it becomes a little bit easier to do.
It certainly does. Rogue Warriors are not having a good day. And let me just remind you all at home, this series is for playoff contention. Both of these teams potentially could make 8th seed if they can win every single series from here on out. They've each got 4 remaining, including this series. And right now, BLG are heavily in favor of finishing this one off. The Colonel reckons they've got a 2/3 chance, which is pretty generous from the Colonel. Wooming, he's got about a 2/3 chance of surviving at all right now as he takes a huge chunk from Fofo, who just about gets away. Harrow will be able to finish this tower off. He has a Herald as well.
Yeah, which is good news for Rogue Warriors, where they can try and get some gold back in their favor. This needs to be shared between himself and Shang-Chi.
Hang on. BLG, they want to keep this play going. Harrow's the target of Fofo, who can easily finish this Graves off. Just has to dodge a little bit of damage that comes back. In comes Shinmo to try and find himself a stun. Oh my days. That's what a Fed LeBlanc will do to you. Wings arrived, so did Shinmo. Easy pickings.
Yeah, there's not much you can do. There's Harrow. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. You're going to get caught out.
Baron?
Yeah,
oh
looks
my
like
goodness,
it.
BLG, they want to snowball. They want to win this one quick. We said that they're going to spike earlier in this game, and Holden knows that he's got to get to be a part of this play. Wuji with the Void Seeker. Can Rogue Warriors even win this, Doctor?
They want to try and get some poke down from Woomy, which could turn it, but God of the Forge God needs to be on point. 4,000 health from this Baron.
Stepping in, but King and dodges everything. Tempered Fate. It's only on to Holder here as Meteor moves away.
Hey,
they've deterred the Baron.
Yeah. They did enough here. They've managed to poke BLG off, and that was what needed to happen, was Woomy get some damage down, make sure they were able to stop this aggressive play. And now, with 5 seconds towards Ocean Soul,
no way.
Rogue Warriors can go towards it.
No way do Rogue Warriors get themselves an Ocean Soul off for this play. They are almost 8,000 gold down right now, and off the back of BLG trying to force this Baron. Suddenly Rogue Warriors have an Ocean Soul, and suddenly they've got a way back into this.
I don't know if both these teams deserve playoffs after that. Like, this has been pretty damn messy so far in this game.
After some of the magical series that we've been able to witness from Rogue Warriors, upsetting LGD, upsetting FPX, I'm going to allow them one rough series.
Okay.
As long as they can get the win, I'm still a believer of Rogue Warriors.
Well, we'll have to see, because BLG, look, they have given over that Ocean Soul, but we have seen teams lose before with the Ocean Soul. It is a very big objective for them to have picked up, and does a lot for their composition. Because when you look at, okay, we can try and play through the poke of Wooming to set ourselves up, it means that can't be answered back as easily by Wings. But again, it's kind of no different for BLG. They wanted to get in, they wanted to make these plays happen fast off of Shinmo. We'll have to see if they still can.
Wuji wants to move over to the red buff. Meteor is waiting in the jungle. Kingen is nearby. Don't know if they'll be able to burst. I mean, Kingen is pretty damn fed. They're just going to let Wuji get the buff. They're not bothered. I guess they were just pretending to make a play. Yeah. One thing I do want to mention, though, is obviously Rogue Warriors, they got themselves an Ocean Soul, but they are not out of the woods just yet. Let's bear in mind that Fofo does burst damage. Ocean Soul, not that great against burst damage. Like, you don't get the sustain if you just die instantly. And Meteor knows all about that right now. Forced to flash away out of the play as Forge Gods go everywhere in the fight. Triple knockup, though, comes out from Holder. And in the meantime, it's Kingen that is shut down. That's a huge bounty as well. Now a pull onto Wings.
And that burst damage never came through, so now BLG looking for the re-engage, but Rogue Warriors are healing up. They're the ones that are coming out on top.
tasty little play coming out from Rogue Warriors. Now they get to move towards the mid lane. Lei makes another attempt on towards Wings. And trying to shut down these Ezreals is so damn hard as a Nautilus. You don't ever get to go near, but they don't need to actually get him. They just need to get this tower. Get it, they will, Dagda.
That was pretty close in that hook from Lei. I think Wings felt the breeze from that one. But
even if it hits, he just hits E after it hits and he still gets away. It's ridiculous. It's like Tristana. It doesn't matter if you hit it.
So Rogue Warriors get the mid lane tower. Everyone on BLG is now back onto the map. You're going to have some key items coming through for the likes of Harrow here. Opted again for the... This is actually something Harrow does quite a bit, is go towards the serrated Dirk to give him a bit of lethality and give him a bit more power in these early games before going into the Black Cleaver build. But he's now finished off that Black Cleaver. He'll be turning out quite a bit of damage. You're looking as well at that Winsu's Rage Break being completed for Shang-Wu-Ji. The Stinger picked up for himself too, so he's starting to hit a point where he'll be doing a lot of damage. So you're getting to the stage now where Rogue Warriors are going to be contesting BLG across the board. And that last fight kind of showed us.
One thing I do want to mention, though, before we do get to these late game fights is how much better BLG have been during the laning phase across this series. Like the ridiculous CS leads they found for themselves, item advantages every single game. Granted, that's 2 games. Hang on, Wings could be in trouble here. Lei is not going to make a play for this one. His flash was on cooldown. I thought maybe that was the chance to finally get this Ezreal locked down. Fofo now wants to answer. Chain does go down onto Lei. They're going to follow up with the second one as well, but he's going to be all right at the end of it. Kingen coming from the other side. Tempered Fate, it's onto Wuji. That's so big. If Kingen can follow up, Depth Charge going to land. It's got a lot of AP. And Meteor, he's from the backside, but he doesn't even... He's too late to the play anyway. They've already won the fight on this one. Now they're just going to chase down Wuming. Both carries are dead. Holder, sure, he's tanky, but Kingen, he's got a lot of chains. He's going to be spinning around, and he doesn't really do any damage. As the rest of BLG still on the... Holder's still over half HP.
Ocean Soul is pretty damn good when you're an Ornn, but not enough when you're Shang-Wu-Ji, who gets caught out once again with a great ultimate from Shinmo, and that sets up BLG to turn towards the park.
I feel like I see that so often from Silas's, even when they're fed, when they're trying to get through tanks or whatever. It's like, it looks really cool. You're flailing your chains around, you're spinning around and doing all of these explosions. You're not doing anything.
Especially when he doesn't even have Conqueror, right? He's opted for the fleet footwork, which we pointed out before. It means you got even a harder time trying to get through because you just don't get that extra AP and AD damage to try and work down. So, hey, look, it's not about working down this Ornn, though. It is about these picks. It is about trying to get onto Wuming and Shang-Wu-Ji when they group up like this. Shinmo does a great job of flashing in, getting that follow-up stun. Then you get the stolen away Nautilus ult from Kingen, and it becomes very easy with Meteor coming in off the flank.
Yep, so Fofo grabs himself another one off the back of that play. He's now 5-0-2. This LeBlanc has been looking fantastic from him with the 10 Magi stacks on top of everything else. And I have to say, Dagda, I don't want to say the 6-letter words starting with D that rhymes with mental boomed that might be the case for Rogue Warriors here, but it ain't looking good, that's for sure.
It's not looking pretty whatsoever, and especially when they've already got the Ocean Soul. You think, okay, maybe they can do it. And they could potentially with 40 seconds on this Elder Dragon if they can set up correctly. But I love this from Meteor. Constantly looking for flanks, constantly looking for an ability to spread open these fights. But in a close quarter fight like this...
Once again, he's looking for flanks. He doesn't even need him. They just run at the side of Rogue Warriors and just easily out damage. This isn't even a fight. This is pest control coming out from BLG. They just annihilated everyone. Fofo gets a quadra kill.
And it's Holder who's still alive, so probably won't be able to pick up the Penta, which is a bit sad. Although they're doing the damnedest down on this bottom side.
Oh my goodness, he's on his way. Fofo, can he get the pentakill? Holder's low. Wings is going to allow it over. Pentakill for Fofo.
And that will be the game for BLG. The pentakill for Fofo will keep the clock rolling as they go towards that potential miracle run for playoffs.
10-0-2. He finished off his stacks before the end of the game. Fofo, a comfortable MVP, gets himself the pentakill, and well, BLG have woken up towards the end of the split.
They really have, and it's good to